Hello everybody, welcome to 2C TV, your global news channel. I'm Maya 2C and this is your latest news update coming from the continent of Europe, specifically in the Netherlands. Yet another dark day for the normal civilians who live in this continent, especially in major capital cities. And in this situation, we're talking about Amsterdam, as we've had a number of civilians who have been injured at the heart of Amsterdam after a mass stabbing attack happened once again. We're going to bring you guys the latest information that we have on this story. Everything goes back to the incompetence or perhaps complicity of the left-wing mayor of Amsterdam. We are going to be talking about her and her track record in terms of the rise of crime in Amsterdam and everything else around this. There's a lot of speculations already on social media about the identity of the attacker. Half of social media are saying he was a Turk, the other ones are saying Albanian, and a few people saying Ukrainian. We are going to be going to the actual information that we have so far. So the actual attack happened near the Dam Square at the heart of Amsterdam, not too far from the central train station. We have a number of videos which we're going to show you, because over the last 2-3 hours, everything happened very quickly in regards to the way the emergency workers responded to this. And they managed to contain it, because a lot of people thought that, well, this is completely all over the place. That is this just one person, or could it be more people involved? They managed to cordon off the whole area very quickly and search everything, which is pretty impressive for the police in Amsterdam. Let's go to the first video. We have a couple of clips for you guys as well from the actual suspect, the attacker, when he was arrested. 5 people have been injured, including the suspect himself. So technically speaking, there are 4 civilians that he managed to hurt. One of them includes a young girl and an older lady as well. So a lot of people are trying to figure out, the investigation is still ongoing. They're trying to figure out if this were a random attack, considering the identity of the injured people are all random, or perhaps something else happened. We do have a quick statement from the police in Amsterdam that said, this is obviously a couple of hours ago. We are present at the St. Nicolaasstraat near the Dam Square after a report of a stabbing incident with injuries. There is therefore a cordon also on the dam itself. More information will follow. We can now confirm the Dam Square itself is now reopened, but not the whole area. They also said that a suspect was overpowered with the help of a citizen. As his leg was injured, he was taken to the hospital. So this is the whole thing. I'm going to show you the actual video quickly from the moment the attacker was stopped and arrested. He didn't look conscious, let's just say. They also brought in a helicopter to obviously help with the emergency workers. A lot of people thought that he was hit in the head, but the police said his leg was injured. So we'll figure out at some point what exactly happened to the actual attacker. Let's go to the clip with the helicopter and also when the suspect was arrested. So that was the man in question. Obviously, we're going to find out more about his motives. As we said, a young girl and an old lady were included in terms of the people who have been injured. We have a couple of statements from the witnesses and also local media, which we're going to show you. The image you're seeing is from one of the injured people. A young woman, this is according to the eyewitness, a young woman says that suddenly people started running and that there was a fear of a terrorist attack. That's happening everywhere now. Just look at Germany, she says, also referring to cars driving into crowds of people. There was also another reaction from a local shopkeeper telling the local newspapers, saying that I heard a knock and then I saw a girl who had been stabbed in the back and a boy ran off. But then we also had some reaction from the local media itself. This is the picture of the suspect. It didn't seem conscious here. The local media said that the man seemed confused. There was talk of someone who seemed to have used drugs, but all obviously are unconfirmed. So there's a bit of a narrative in the local press in Amsterdam that drugs might have been involved in his decision making. But that's not really a good excuse. I'm not really sure when people get high on drugs, they're not going to go around stabbing people. But we'll find out about that shortly. But again, everything does go back to the mismanagement of Amsterdam. We have to talk about the mayor of Amsterdam, because just like what Sadiq Khan has done to London, another left-wing leader, she has completely ruined everything, and she's denying that she's ruined Amsterdam, because she's still got a lot of people in the local media in the city who are still basically backing her. But let's not forget that only days ago, in the same place in Amsterdam, we had a bunch of Islamists going around, anti-Semites. This is, by the way, the same city that had the pogrom a few months ago. They started chanting, throw the Jews, they were talking about the Jews, throw the Jews into the canal in Amsterdam. Watch this. They allow this to happen, and they wonder why just the level of disorder and criminality is just going up in these major cities anyway. When you have people openly disrespecting the rule of law and other normal people out there, obviously you're going to have a situation where anybody who's a criminal could feel more confident to do whatever they want in cities like London, like Paris, like Amsterdam, Brussels, Berlin, because clearly there's a massive disrespect to the authorities themselves, the rule of law, the culture of the cities and the countries. So you're going to have a rise of gangs, you're going to have a rise of Islamist terrorism, you're going to have a rise of just general crime. You know, you're just going around stabbing people and stealing people's bags. Everything is going to go up because nobody respects even the leaders, the political leaders in these cities. In London, Sadiq Khan. Nobody will listen to Sadiq Khan, whether you're left-wing or right-wing or not political. In Amsterdam, we have to talk about this clown. This is the mayor of Amsterdam, FMK Halsema, a far-left politician who has completely ruined the basic order of Amsterdam. In fact, I remember a few years back, when I went to Amsterdam on holiday, I still love that place because compared to many other major capital cities in Europe, you still, this is years ago, not now, you still felt an element of Dutch culture. You're like, okay, I can feel I'm in the Netherlands. Whereas, when you come to London or when you go to Paris, you don't really feel the French culture or the British culture. You have to leave London to get the British culture. You have to leave Paris to see the actual French people. In Amsterdam, you still had that element. In Amsterdam, you still felt that you can enjoy your time without completely getting attacked. I mean, there's always been crime in all the major cities, but compared to places like Paris or London, it was an enjoyable experience to be in Amsterdam. All that's completely changed. And Amsterdam wasn't supposed to be difficult to manage in terms of the size, in terms of the structure of the city itself, compared to, again, the chaos that you see, the maze that is London. But this woman has ruined everything. This is the same woman who, after the attack on the Jews, in her city, by the way, she was the one who regretted the Israeli government and the Dutch politicians using the term pogrom. No, she didn't regret herself. She said the Israeli government and other Dutch politicians saying this was a pogrom, this was an attack on the Jews, it's propaganda. It actually discriminates against so-called Dutch Muslims. What? So you had a bunch of idiots going around attacking Jews on the streets of Amsterdam. We saw the reality. The mayor of Amsterdam is denying it, that it actually happened. So no, I don't know what you're talking about. None of that happened. And you wonder why and how? More criminals, I don't really care what crime you have, will feel more confident to do whatever they want in these cities. And you wonder why the video I showed you from a few days ago in Amsterdam with the other anti-Semitic Islamists who are going around chanting, throw the Jews into the canal. That's fine, apparently. You wonder why there's a rise in gang crime. You wonder why there's a rise of mugging. People just randomly get attacked. Tourists will get attacked. Again, this sort of thing that's been happening in London and Paris for a long time, although it started in Paris more than London, but London has now reached that level as well. Now you're having in Amsterdam. Brussels fell a while ago. But it's okay because the political establishment deny the existence of the rise of crime. And now we're not just talking about terrorism. We're just talking about basic disorder. Because you're not allowed to criticize. If you criticize, they say, hang on, you might offend somebody somewhere. We don't know who, we don't know where, but you might offend. Just don't be politically incorrect. Someone might get offended if you ask the authorities to keep you safe. That's basically the situation that we have. In fact, on this channel, straight after this live stream, if you're watching this live, it's now 7:41 p.m. UK time. At 9 p.m. UK time, we'll come back to you guys because we have a special guest who has been cancelled. Again, surprise. Father Phil Harris is going to be joining us because as a Christian leader, he criticized our Prime Minister in the UK. And he's now been kicked out of church. I mean, criticizing the political leadership is now a crime, and you know it really depends how you phrase words as well. Because if you say, "Oh no, we are getting stabbed too much," they say, "Well, what do you exactly mean?" Then when you explain what you mean, they're like, "Well, there we go, you're cancelled." So do you want us to tell the truth? Do you want us to actually give you feedback as citizens and taxpayers of these cities? Or do you just want us to be quiet and not saying anything until the problem that we are facing eventually reaches the same politicians who are currently sitting in their ivory towers? When it reaches their family and their loved ones, then they're going to need our help, right? They're going to be like, oh yes, actually, there is a problem. Yeah, maybe we have too much division. Maybe we have too much disorder. Maybe we've kind of lost control of peace, basic peace in our cities. If it even reaches their families. There's a lot of reaction in the live chat I can already see. Darren, thank you very much for your super chat, saying a tenner from me to buy yourself an Easter egg. Thank you for bringing us the news. Thank you, although I've been... told that Easter egg is now banned here because, well, not for religious reasons. The dentist told me I shouldn't have more sugar, but it's fine. I'll just do something else with it. Thank you so much. Yes, obviously Easter's coming up too. So it says no drugs, no hoes, no economy in Amsterdam. The thing is, they can still survive without the red light district. Thanks, Maya, from the Irish far right. Love the channel. Great work, brother. See, you're so far right. Anyway, Russ says, just saw this live stream now. What the F? Make sure to click on the notification bell and click on all. When you click on notification bell, automatically it's personalized, not all. You have to make sure it's on all. They've got two options, basically. Now, Dot Matrix says, you're already sweet, Maya. Thank you very much. Now, Paul says, Florida not quiet. What? What's happening in Florida? That's out of context. Why are we talking about Florida? If UK backs UKIP and UK can survive another term of Labour, then we have a chance. We have a fighting chance. I don't know why are we talking about the UK now? Okay, I'm very confused. Like going back to, yeah, Tina says on drugs, Islam is one hell of a drug. Yeah, we don't have the religious identity of the person, because a lot of the speculations came earlier saying, oh well, he's a Turk, and then actually some people also say he's a Kurd, and then they said he's Albanian, and then someone said he's Ukrainian. Like, okay, well, let's just wait. There's no need. Oh, I see at the news I am from the Netherlands. Thank you, Good Kingdom, for watching from the Netherlands. I'm sorry that you guys are going through yet another mess. Jared says terror attacks are denied by the Dutch government. This is not the first attack. Been here for years. Too much to mention. Yes, it's from the Netherlands. Vote FVD. Yes, I know, but the problem is it's not really just terror attacks being denied. It's the fact that all the other attacks, any level of disorder that you are seeing, one main issue is not only they don't want it to be publicized. So, for example, they couldn't control this narrative today, the mass attack in Amsterdam, because, well, guess what? It happened at the heart of Amsterdam. You had a bunch of tourists over there. Everywhere they had a mobile phone. So they started posting on X and other social media platforms. There was no other way to downplay this. But they are still trying to downplay this. Firstly, they've told the local press to tell us, I think this guy was high on drugs. What sort of drug was he using to make him suddenly have a knife in his hand? Look at that. Oh, I'm now high. Oh, look, there's a knife. There's a massive knife here now. And then let's just use it on random girls and older women. That's not really a good excuse. They're still downplaying in regards to any sort of attack that we have, whether it's a targeted attack, whether it's a random attack in terms of somebody knowing a group of people and attacking them, or somebody just attacking a bunch of tourists, somebody trying to mug people, a bunch of gangs used to attack other gangs, but now gangs attack civilians, which is a whole new problem that we are having in Europe. But they're not even trying to address this. Now, what's going on with you? Maya, could you all please put locks on your cutlery drawers to stop those damn knives going out stabbing people? Yeah, it's rogue knives just randomly going around. Also, I love how the British government today announced that they are basically banning big knives and ninja swords. I'm like, number one, were they not banned already? I mean, you can't really just walk around the streets with a massive ninja sword, right? Secondly, how is banning them going to stop criminals from having them? So imagine you're a criminal, or you're a terrorist, or you're a gangster, right? Yesterday, you're like, I've got this massive machete, massive knife. I can take this out. Next day, Starmer says it's banned. Like, oh, well, the Prime Minister said I'm not allowed to have this now. Oh, how am I going to kill people? He's a criminal. He's going to kill people. He's not going to listen to the Prime Minister saying, oh, you're no longer allowed to take out your massive knives. How's that going to solve anything? Catch the criminals. Not necessarily the knives. The knives are already banned anyway. Why do we not have swords being banned on the streets? I mean, I don't think you should actually write it down in a book saying, yes, ban massive swords. If a police officer sees one, you just catch them anyway, right? It doesn't have to be written. It's kind of common sense. Idiots. Maureen Roberts says, Maya, it's not called Easter eggs. Not allowed. It is now a chocolate egg. Is that real now? Is it actually called chocolate egg? Daylight says, in Germany, they did the Ramadan celebrations in front of our church, but forbid the Easter market for security reasons. Yeah, but Easter is very dangerous, right? Yeah, all these dangerous Christians going around forgiving people. Such militants. Stop forgiving people. One spy from Iran is under arrest in Sweden. Check the news. He was working. Oh, really? Well, that's not the first time. We have a massive group of IRGC in Sweden, because actually in Sweden they felt more safe to be operating than even London. London is a hub for the IRGC, but Sweden also. Surprise, surprise. We are inviting the enemy. Anyway, as I said there, don't forget, in about an hour and 10 minutes, so 9 p.m. UK time, we're going to come back because we have Father Phil Harris, who's going to be joining me. He's the latest Christian leader who has been cancelled for criticising the British Prime Minister, Keir Starmer. He's been kicked out of church, and we're going to have him on the channel. He's going to tell us his story, what's actually been going on, and the attack on Christianity, because, it's not really just about the individuals, it's about the values that are being attacked. Let's see. While we're here, I'm just going to quickly check to see if we have any more information on the identity or the motive of the suspect, because we're still waiting. Because again, we'll forget about all the rumors about whether he's Albanian or Turk or whatever. We still don't know about that. Obviously, we had the picture we showed you. You can do your own speculation and guessing. There is I'm trying to see if there's any reactions so far from Wilders. I can imagine. Yeah. Geert Wilders is just obviously pushing for PVV, his party, because obviously the right wingers in the Netherlands, they're still fighting inside the system against not just those in power, but those behind the power. So they were never going to allow Geert Wilders to become prime minister. So that's a whole different fight that he has to continue. There is a super chat from Stu saying they are banning weapons, thinking criminals will listen and start using custard pie tummy guns, like in Bugsy Miller. What sort of a criminal is keeping up to date with the national news, saying, well, let's see what our leaders is actually saying now. Am I allowed to kill people using this weapon? Oh, well, I can't now. I'm going to have to use it. The whole point of criminals is that they don't care. It's the same thing that when they said the Democrats in the US, let's basically take away guns from the law-abiding citizens who are just doing for self-defense, right? But they're like, well, so what about the criminals? Well, we'll just hope that the criminals will just bring us their guns. Like, no, they're going to hide it, you idiots. Why would a criminal voluntarily give away their guns? And they said, well, we're going to go find them. Like, how? Do you really think the criminal is going to be like, well, yeah, I'm just going to put my gun in the kitchen. So if the police comes, then, oh, yeah, well, here you go, Mr. Police. Here's my gun. No, they're going to hide it. You're not going to find it. There are so many guns in America. And if you just go and take it away from the law-abiding citizens, then obviously the criminals will still going to have the guns. The crime is not going to go down. Mass shootings not going to go down. They don't really think about this. It's all knee-jerk reactions. Everything is about reactionary politics right now in the West, which is the downfall. And we don't really have, apart from, for example, political leaders like Trump and Javier Milei, you don't really have, and Bukele obviously, you don't really have proactive leaders. Everybody is reactionary, those in government, and everyone's waiting for an event to happen, then they can react to it. Like, okay, why do we have to wait for a disaster? Just look at the problems, resolve them before they become a crisis. So again, for example, one of the things that the White House is doing right now, even with Doge and other departments, because it's not really just about Doge and Elon Musk, all the other departments, RFK Jr. is also doing the same thing in health. They're going around saying, okay, so where are the cracks in the system? Let's actually fix it before it becomes a crisis. Politicians wait for the crisis to happen. They put a plaster on it, on the crack, and the crack gets bigger and bigger. One example was in London. What was it, 8 years ago? I think it's 8 years ago, I think. In 2017, we had the Grenfell Tower that burned down, right? In Kensington. Then they said, oh, well, there was an accidental fire, but the whole building, there's a lot of people have been ruined because of cladding issues, the way the building was built, regulations. And I'm like, okay, they knew about some of the terrible, terrible standards of buildings way before, because people mentioned them for years and years. They didn't do anything about it before. Even afterwards, when politicians, both Labour and Tories, had to react to the event, they said, oh yes, we've now discovered there's a bit of a problem with other buildings like this, with their low standards. We're going to have to fix the claddings, right? What happened? put a plaster on the crack. They didn't actually even fix it. We've still got so many buildings, the same standards. None of them cares until the next fire. Super sticker from Chris. Thank you, Chris, for your support. Let's get a couple of non-super chats as well. Denise says, American here. America. Nope, we love our guns. Good. Keep loving it. Some people are talking about Sharia. Don't know what's going on. Oh, hello. Someone against the Jews. CX says, it's time we need to speak out against the Zionism, globalism. You can't put two isms next to each other. You can say Zionist globalism, but you can't say Zionism. It's bad grammar. Ruining the globe. And the Islamists they are using is spelled incorrectly. And mass migration from London. Tell me you're an idiot without telling me you're an idiot. The Zionist globalists bringing the Muslims here. Do you know where they get this from, by the way? Because there have been, over the years, Israeli politicians, not all Israelis, some Israeli politicians who've been, especially the nationalists, have been saying, we need to find a way to push the Islamists out of this area, which is a brilliant idea. If you have a lot of problems with a group of people, try to push them out, right? Macron is doing the same thing with illegal migrants. He's sending them, saying, yeah, get on a boat, go to England. This is what you do to protect your country. Just go wherever, go to Europe. It's the job of the European politicians not to let them in, you idiots. If you want to blame somebody, blame our own politicians and our own border force for opening the door. If the Jews are sending the Islamists away from the Middle East, let them do it. Good for them. I'm proud of them. Actually push them away from your area because they're a threat, right? Fine. Doesn't mean you have to open the door here. It's the problems that we have in the West because of all the stupid international entities and globalist entities and human rights groups who basically we have to follow, right? And as Russell says, Europeans are slow learners. It's just masochism. Pure blood says, off topic, you have a double that plays saxophone across from the Big Ben. On topic, walking around Westminster is very daunting with all the people hanging around. Many just do not seem vigilant. That's true. Yeah, we kind of just rely on the authorities in London to do their job. So it's quite problematic because whether you like it or not, compared to what's happening in Germany or France, especially Germany and France, in the UK, GCHQ and MI5 and counterterrorism, they're doing a good job. Do you really think it's just a coincidence that we're not getting more big mass terrorist attacks in London or Manchester? Do you think, oh no, they're all just going to Germany to just attack Germany? Do you really think terrorists are like, you know what, nah, we're not going to do any attacks in London. We're just going to do all of them in Munich or Paris? No, because the authorities are actually doing a good job. The politicians and the deep state are not helping because they're just making it harder for the good people who are actually doing their job in the security services. By opening a door, by having an open door policy, you're just going to make it harder for people to keep an eye on the suspects. We got thousands and thousands of extremists on the watch list. It's not going to be easy, but they're still doing a good job. But it's a thankless job. So if you work for these sort of places and you stop terrorist attacks, you don't really get a thank you. Because you can't really go around telling people, oh, by the way, I just stopped another terrorist attack. It'll be crazy. But the moment it implodes, then obviously there'll be a lot of scrutiny. So while our politicians are ruining everything, there are still some good people as part of the intelligence who are gathering good intel to actually stop these attacks before they even happen. But the reason that it happens in Germany and France more is not because their intelligence are incompetent. It's because the burden on them is even worse than the UK. The type of people who are currently in Germany and the numbers of the people that they have compared to even to the UK or specifically London, it's not manageable. It's not controllable. That's why they struggle. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a break and come back in about an hour with our special report and an interview with Father Phil Harris, who's now been cancelled and kicked out of church for criticising the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer. I'm Maya Tusi, and we are the media.